Hi.
Working
Yes.
today, that's right.
Crazy week last week. One thing that's been very fun is we've grown the company a lot in the last year. Number one, at the beginning of the year, we were 18 people. We're now 81. Apple just had WWDC about 3.5 weeks ago. And so one cool thing that happened is there was a presentation about iPad, and there was a moment where Tim Cook was presenting, and there was a huge Speechify icon right next to his head. So that was very cool for us to see and very validating of some of the work that we've been doing. What's been the most surprising thing out of everything this year? I think we grew a lot faster than I expected. That's not true. Like in January, I was telling Simon that we'll be 100 people by the end of the year, and we will be 100 people by the end of the year. It was clear to me that it was possible. It was like the cusp on what was possible, and I was committed to doing it. But inside, though I seemed very confident to everybody else that we were going to do it, I didn't have 100% conviction that we were going to get there. I was pretty confident, but I was not sure. Now I'm sure. We set these big, hairy, audacious goals, and I think the thing that is magic for me, or in me, is that I'm very confident, and it's a natural trait for the most part. We made actually another YouTube video about this in the past, but that confidence is inspiring to other people, and it's inspiring to me. And I just decided I'm going to do something, and I will not stop until that thing happens. And so I think that I knew that we would be 100 people, and I said that we were going to do it in a year, but I thought, if we end up doing it in a year and a half, that's also okay, but we're going to do it in a year now. Now I'm sure, I'm like 100% confident. So that, very surprising. The second one is that the team is, not only did we grow to that level, the quality is unbelievable in the quality of the people that we have. Both in terms of talent, technical talent, and in terms of the fiber of their moral character, the fact that they lead with love, that they have frugality, they have fire in the belly, that they're really motivated to do what they're doing, and that they collaborate so well together, and that the system that we build for managing all these folks is so efficient because they're self-directed. They take personal agency, they have a high bias towards action, and so partly as the system is good, but partly as we pick the right people. And so the impact has been unbelievably high. So that's number one, the most surprising thing. Number two, the adoption has been unbelievable. We succeeded in growing so much in both the Chrome extension and the iOS app. Again, I say unbelievable, but this was exactly my plan. I started working on Speechify, and I thought that within 3 months we would have 1 million users. And surprise, 3 months in we did not have 1 million users. But now, I set goals, and we reached those goals. And I think the big difference has been quality. So our first principle of Speechify is extreme product quality. And in the beginning, I was one person coding this stuff. It's unlikely that as an individual person, you can build a product that covers all the edge cases, you can build a product that integrates across all the platforms that you need to integrate in, that you can make something that is significantly different than what existed before. But as a team, you can. And so the saying that comes to mind is, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with a team. And so we're going very, very far, and that's why I spend all my time team building. And so I'm constantly iterating on the vision. Long-term vision, this is vision I'm not even talking to you guys or to most of the people on the team. The long-term vision now is massive. It's so big. However big you think it is, it's 150x bigger. But still, this is the magic part, completely reasonable, make complete logical sense, and will happen. And will happen in the next 4 to 5 years, not in the next 20. There's also a 20-year vision, but that one requires some significant updates in science for it to occur. If I wanted to solve education, one way to do that is to go and build a bunch of schools. But that's hard, very, very hard. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of time. A better way of solving education is to democratize access to literacy with code, which is what we're doing at Speechify. And so we're doing that not only if you're dyslexic or have ADHD or have low vision or have concussions or autism, or you were born in Ghana and your third grade class had 80 people in it and you never got individualized attention. We're also doing it if you're a 50-year-old and you're working at an investment bank and you read fast, but you wish you could read faster and you wish you could multitask. And Speechify just gives you freedom to be able to ride your bicycle more, take a walk, be with your kids, be in the car, and not be tethered to your desk all day. And so the mission is just so big and audacious that there's an unlimited amount for us to work on. But Cliff, how do you accomplish all these things? This is so much stuff to do. One important note is, people often overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term. And so now that we have a team that is together and they're long-term oriented, you can move the world a lot more than an inch. You can move the world a mile. And so I'm excited to see what those teams will be able to do together. Okay, so now you have this bigger team. They talk to users constantly, right? Like every person in the company has to talk to users at least 10 times a week. They talk to users constantly. They figure out how to improve it. And now we're, 81. But by the end of next year, we'll be 350. Because we're constantly looking for the best possible engineers in the world to add to the company, the best people at product marketing, the best people who are at design. Because my number one goal is to find these awesome people and bring them on the journey with us and make sure that they partner with other amazing folks to accomplish really big, audacious goals. It's just constantly looking for where are these amazing people and how can we get them to join the company. Is it by making a video like this so that you get a direct experience of what goes through my head and what goes through the head of the rest of the team as we build? Is it by doing podcasts? Is it by doing ads on YouTube? Is it by continuing to market the product so well that you can't help but message me because you use the product and it had such a big impact in your life and now you want to be one of the people who works on it? So what does it mean to move the world a mile as opposed to move the world an inch? So when I was in college, I built a bunch of different things, 3D printed skateboard brakes, a bunch of iPhone apps and websites. I built a thing called Yum Pass. It was a discount program for kids at Brown, and it would give you a 10 to 20% discount at local, restaurants. And I had a couple of hundred people who used this product. That's moving the world an inch. Another example is, the early version of Speechify. I was using it, a couple of other friends were using it, etc. But now there's like tens of millions of people who have the app. And, they're using it, but they're using it in a very meaningful way because the product is now very, very good. It's easy to use, and it is unlocking access to education for so many people. Like, I constantly get messages from people who say, I got a concussion, and I had to, quit school, but then I found Speechify, so I didn't. I have dyslexia. I was going to be held back a grade, and then I found Speechify, and I didn't. I'm actually now getting B's and A's. I got promoted in my job as a product manager, and I couldn't keep up with my email, and I have anxiety, and the more emails I get, the more anxious I would feel, but then I got Speechify, and I clicked play, and it just read all my emails to me. And so that's not yet moving the world a mile, but it's definitely moving it a lot. Moving the world a mile is, it used to be that it was very important to know how to ride a horse. And now it doesn't matter because there's cars. And so moving the world a mile is saying, actually, reading is becoming a little bit irrelevant because it doesn't matter how fast you can read. One skill should never be the limit to a kid's potential. And if you have Speechify and it's really well deployed, at scale, with code, integrated in everything, it doesn't matter if you can read. I mean, you should still know how to read, obviously. Average Americans read at 200 words per minute. I listen at 700 words per minute. Everybody can do that. It's just a matter of practice. Roger Bannister was the first person to run the 4-minute mile. The next year, dozens of other people ran a 4-minute mile. So it's not something that is, special. It's just something that takes a little bit of practice. And if you practice, we've been listening for hundreds of thousands of years. We've only been reading for a couple of thousand. Reading is a hack that humans invented. But we're really good at listening. And so moving the world a mile means that you transcend to the point where, number one, any one of these disabilities or learning differences becomes irrelevant. Number two, the world becomes smarter because people have more access to learning and education and reading and books. That's moving the world a mile. I want to make sure that if you are a person and you are at work and you have a certain level of productivity, I'm actually increasing your productivity because now you have access to Speechify and you don't need to be sat at your desk all day when you're doing your work. Your understanding goes up because you're both listening and reading at the same time. Your comprehension goes up, your retention goes up. It's less boring, it takes less energy from you. So when you get home, you're less tired, you can spend more time with your kids and your loved ones, and you have more energy. And so the big focuses for us for the future are, number one, nail the basics. Make sure that if ever there is text that you encounter in your life, whether it be a physical text on a book or something on your email or a PDF or a website, that it's extremely easy for have that text read out to you. Number two is improving the quality of the voices everywhere. Number three is make the platform more multi-platform. So we now have iOS, we have iPad, we have Android, we have Chrome, we have backend platform, we have API. But users typically don't know this. We often see people downloading the iOS app and they don't necessarily download the Chrome extension, or they download the Chrome extension, but they don't necessarily download the iOS or Android apps. And so we want to make sure that that is consistent, where a user who downloads, especially if they choose the premium experience, that they end up downloading it on the other platforms as well. The next thing that we want to do is optimize the experience on specific websites. We find that there's some places that people read a lot, for example, Google Docs or Gmail or Wattpad. And we just want to make sure that the play button appears in the most useful spot on that website. So one thing that we did at some point is we made the play button appear in the compose view of Gmail and in the compose view of Twitter. And when we did that, usage on those websites went up a lot. And so we want to make sure that we optimize those websites and ideally actually partner with those websites so that they integrate the Speechify API natively. They choose where the play button goes, but the play button appears for all their users, not just people who downloaded the Chrome extension, but everybody who comes to the website gets the Speechify experience. The next one is more collaborative tools. So allowing you to highlight, annotate, add a voice note. For the mobile extension for Safari, it's going to be the case that if you long click on the play button, and let's say you're reading a Medium article, it'll go speechify.com/medium/whatever if I'm sending it to Jack, and Jack will get that article with the Speechify functionality laced into the link that I share with him, even if he doesn't have Speechify, and he'll see my highlights, my annotations, the voice notes that I add. I'll get attribution to know what percentage of the article he finished listening to, and he'll be able to play it. So he's more likely to actually read the thing that I'm asking him to read. Yeah. So if anything in the last 20 minutes of me talking resonated with you, message us. If you have a feature request, message us. info@speechify.com, or send me a message, Cliff Weitzman at Instagram. If you go, wow, this is a company I would want to work with. I'm an engineer, I'm a designer, I'm a product marketer. Message us. Or if you just go, hey, this mission is awesome. I'm just a user, but I want to reach out and share with you guys some of my thoughts. Reach out. I want this to be a two-way conversation, and my goal here is for you guys to get a glimpse into what it is like, A, to build a company, but B, to try and change the world in a meaningful manner. And we're changing the world for you. So let us know how you want us to change it.